Perhaps, Aditi, you'd like to tell us a little bit about, what are some of the local challenges when it comes to, power supply, and as well as procuring power.
Thank you,
for
Preeti. Hello. We basically run properties which are small and they spread across quite a large, area. So one of the easiest things that we find for electricity management is to divide our entire property into smaller parts. So we have blocks of, smaller, so say 3 rooms in a block, block for the F&B section, a block for the common rooms. And therefore, what we do is that we have a separate electrical connection for each of these parts. So that's the simplest way in which we ensure that electricity is actually a function of the occupancy. One of the other things that we're doing at our places is that we are dabbling in solar energy. So my first resort, in fact, in Siriska, is completely run by solar power. I'll just give you a basic maths of that. So if you look at 1 kWh, it roughly costs you about 1.4 to 1.5 lakhs, given the entire cost of the panels plus the, the inverters, the batteries and the works. So we've just set up a 4 kWh power plant, which is roughly at a cost of 5 lakhs. And if we were to, the entire resort is actually managed by that. If we were to run it purely on electricity, we'd be getting a bill of about 25 to 30,000 rupees per month. So just by that, you can actually see that my payback of that plant will come in less than 2 years. The best part is that the panels are are under warranty for 25 years, and the battery and the inverters for 5 years. So it really makes a lot of sense. So we started trying that out. Also, I'd just like to put in one very quick point. For us, it's actually a lot about the local people there. So it's very difficult to sensitize them towards power. So we use a lot of indie and local solutions, one of which is we don't use too many heaters and all in our properties. We give people hot water bottles. Similarly, we use solar power torches and things like that. Some small things which is easy for them to use as well. So.
Thanks. Amitanshu, if I may ask you here today, you talked about sensitization. In a lot of people, however much you may try, human nature is of course saying that it's not my, I'm paying for this much, doesn't really bother me. From your perspective, would you like to share perhaps something from your experience and what you've done to, in terms of saving electricity costs?
Talking about the point that you raised, a very valid point that some people would just keep a light on, since I have already paid for it. But increasingly, I think the awareness on these accounts are going up. More and more people are being aware. We have people or guests visit our hotels and especially call for me that we would like to see the chief engineer and see what kind of measures are you taking for environmental sustainability practices, for reduction in energy consumption and things like that. So an increasing awareness across all sections is actually happening. Again, carrying on from there, all the hotels, I think, in their individual capacity are looking at ways and means to reduce the costs, reduce the electricity consumptions, water, PNG, diesel, wherever applicable, be it a conversion of the lights to LED or going for more efficient machines in chilling plants, chilling units, air conditioning units, keeping a deliberate tab on areas where temperatures can be regulated. So this, I think, all individual hotels in their own individual capacities are doing it. Of course, as mentioned, increasing awareness on towards non-conventional resources of energy, that is also increasing. Hotels are going ahead with solar power panels, solar heating of domestic water, using more and more means of waste heat recovery. So all these are actually happening, and I really think that the open access system for electricity, that is the way forward. That is the future of the country.
Great. I mean, before I come back to this whole talk of course, open access, I'd like to go to Harinder here, because I think one of the important things is also design. And from a housekeeping perspective, when we are planning, say, renovations or we are planning a new property, what kind of a role that also innovative and imaginative design play in actually saving some of your costs?
You know, when we talk about hotels, we are more for service and luxury and hospitality. So we have to do anything which is affecting the guest need to do with very smart way, in a smart manner that guests should not feel that we are trying to save the cost or doing the cost cutting. There are a lot of methods or ways where we can save, and especially in a building stage or in between, the hotel architect and design need to be done in a manner that we should have more and more sunlight. It should be for the guest room as well as our public areas and banquets, where if we have a function during the day, so we can open the curtain and work with daylight, and when we are in the room, if guest has to want to read something, so he can just open the curtain and read. So our design of the hotel should be in a manner that we should have more and more of sunlight. We have stopped constructing the hotel with atriums nowadays, but we can still look into such designs where we should have atrium, where we should have a sunlight. And the other smarter way that I think most of the hotels are doing, that when we have a key card, most of our key card into the key slot, the moment you take out the key card from the slot, the major electricity shuts off in the room, which plays a very, very important role to save the electricity, because air conditioning is the major area of consumption, where it's not the bulb, it's not the refrigerator or music system, it's air conditioning who consume the maximum electricity. So the moment you take out the key card, your electricity, your air conditioning get stopped. So you save a lot of energy there. So this is the way we need to look into, in a smarter way, where guests should not feel that we are cutting cost or saving everywhere.
Great. I mean, we've talked, of course, about conservation, and we've talked about sensitization. We've talked about smarter interventions to really, help. Maybe we should go back a little bit to what Rohit was talking about, and perhaps John, you could give us a perspective from a user standpoint. I believe you've also been using the IEX. So if you could give us a perspective from that sense, how do you cut costs at source there?
In hotels, one of the major concern is HLP cost, heat, light and power. It varies from 10% to 25% of the top line. And it's, to be very frank, it's a pressure on management, and ultimately it comes down to the chief engineer. Once the project manager hands over the project to the chief engineer, all the energy efficient, whatever the energy efficient, ITC believes that all the energy efficient features should be included at the design stage itself. So now the comes to the chief engineer is the operating cost, the HLP cost, which in the starting it will be something around 20% or 25% of the top line. So we have to bring down, so we have to see the innovative ideas. We can't go again on investment. For a new hotel, we can't immediate approach the management for big investment. So we find like we have to, for example, nil or something like that, almost, for example, like short-term open access. So actually, we chalk down the action plan to reduce the HLP cost. So one of the major what we found is that is the short-term open access, that is power trading. So in that we found that it's almost nil investment we have to do, and one can reap the benefit of it from the very first month. So to start with, we have done a pilot project with ITC Green Center. It's our hotel division headquarter. So first year we have gone with that. So we found that the saving, it was really a good saving from the first month. Approx, it's an office building, so it operates only 10 hours a day. So there we found the saving around 75 paise per unit. And it's not only per unit cost, another biggest achievement or advantage of going with short-term open access we found is that it's like outages. It's power outages, and the DG running hours has come down drastically, to be very frank. And discoms, because discoms can't cut without intimating the hotels or commercial establishment or whoever is going with the open access. So there was a it directly impacted the HSD cost and the DG running hours. So that was a big achievement. So for that, then we thought of, like, for example, for ITC Grand Bharat, we have already registered and all agreement has been done. So we'll be going. We have found, we have worked out for ITC Grand Bharat starting will be minimum 3 lakhs saving, because it's like after, if we buy a power from Discom, it is, just for knowledge, like it is around roughly around 8.67 rupees, rupees 67 paise, and 67 paise will be the fixed cost. So it's something around 8 rupees. So anyway, like if we go with open access, or if we buy from other third party, it will be, we have to pay that 67 paise to the Discom. So if you take 8 rupees, so we calculated the IEX price. If we go with the short-term open access, it's coming around 6.7527 rupees. So what we feel is that 1 rupee for a hotel, like our demand is something around, MD goes up to 1500 kVA. So we are expecting from starting we can do 500.5 megawatt, and then slowly we'll increase to 1 megawatt. And we have calculated something around 3 lakhs, which is roughly approx 6 to 7% reduction in the HLP cost. So I will say this is really a good thing. And in short, I will say very low risk with double benefits. Unlike the share market, where one will burn fingers if you are not smart.
Mr. Kumar, would you like to weigh in here, perhaps on?
Hello. Yes. Actually, I would like to highlight few points over only from from the procurement angles, not from the engineering angles. We are doing lots of the eco-friendly practices while we do new hotel projects. It is very important, one should be design, or to hire a the good consultant at the time of designing your projects, so that he can take care of lots many things, what he is designing, what kind of the equipment he is going to be proposed for that property or not. So ultimately, when you will hand over that project to the OPEX guy, then the recurring cost which we hand over to them, that always bite their pockets till the time they operate that hotels. So we do lots of practices, like whenever we hand over any projects. So we suppose that the hotel is not going to be do 100% occupancy from the day one we are going to be hand over the hotel to the operation peoples. So can we defer some equipment to the next year, or the third years or the fourth years, and make a provision? Suppose like if we have a huge banqueting, 2 banquet halls, can we make a provision for 2 dishwashers, and the third dishwasher can be deferred to purchase for the third years, instead of the buying 3 dishwashers at the same time. Similarly, we are buying lots of electrical appliances which have got less electricity savings powers. So in terms of electricity power savings, we are not using any conveyor belt, toasters, or any equipment which requires keep or means continuously power supplies. So these are the things we are taking care of at the time of purchasing equipments. We always negotiate AMC first, rather than negotiating AMC end of the warranty periods. So all these things we are taking care at the time of purchasing equipments.
Thanks. Suresh, I thought I'll bring you here in, something that Rohit mentioned in his presentation, that, people have gone in for partial open access because of also regulatory challenges. So perhaps if you'd like to talk a little bit about, easing regulation for the same.
Yeah, I'd like to, hi. So I'd like to add, obviously regulatory has been a little challenging, as, like most of the states did not permit open access, and in little recent that, the electricity has been amended, and still couple of states are not alien to the concept of allowing corporates or companies to use the exchange. So obviously there has been regulatory challenges in terms of opening up of the market, but slowly as discussed, it's all opening up. So more and more states are finding acceptance, and more hotels and corporates are warming up to the idea of conserving electricity. So obviously the regulatory challenge, I think I would personally say, is more of a thing of the past. As in, we had challenges, most of the challenges have been overcome. A few states still have issues with it. But that, I believe in the next 2 or 3 years, we will see most of the states falling in line and accepting that this is the way going forward, because obviously there is a lot of trust on conservation of electricity. I'd also like to add, because conservation is, the companies in a way obviously are trying to overcome all challenges, because in this world when there's a lot of competition for all hotels, especially when, saying even from the standpoint of acquisition hotels, or when hotels are getting into management contracts with big brands, the stuff like how much energy you are conserving becomes a very crucial point, because the energy you consume or you conserve becomes directly proportionate to the profits you are. So since profit lines are obviously declining, are not so great for the hotels. So conservation, so there is a lot of trust on conservation. So even when our hotels coming up, obviously as all the technical guys been discussing, everyone's from the very inception of hotels, I would say even the state or the place where you are coming up with a hotel makes a difference. So when you say regulatory challenge, yes, having a hotel in a place or where you could not have benefits of the exchange would also be one of the reasons for a person to construct a luxury resort or something.